everybody, let's go ahead and get started since I want to make sure we get everything covered today. So welcome, good morning. We are here to check out the launch of our newest project, which is basically open in Indiana, now available for all 50 states. Our new name as of today is INSPIREsmall.biz. That is also the website address that we have. And so basically what we've put together here in building this is just a better opportunity for all of our members to connect and learn the skills necessary to build their business and just overall have that sense of community that I think we kind of lost a little bit over the last year with COVID. So everybody, thank you again for joining on this morning. So what I would like to do right now is I'm going to pull up our screen and we're going to go ahead and dive right into the new community here. So just by a quick show of hands, everyone can see my screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So what you're looking at right now is the homepage of our new website, INSPIREsmall.biz. And so every time you arrive at this site, there's a couple of places that you can log in. So of course, in the top menu on the right side, on any page of the website, not just the home, you're able to log in. Also below the Join Now button. So as far as simplicity of being able to log in, that's set up pretty well there. But one thing I do want to make sure to point out on the homepage now is that as we've listened to and spoken to different people about our membership areas that we had previously offered as open in Indiana, we found that with our local connector members that there's a value to making sure that we're doing more to get the word out about them as well. So I'd like to direct your attention here quickly to, on the front page of our website, we've decided now we're going to link our local connector members directly to the page. And so what that's going to allow us to do is from each of these logos, you can click on them. So Jennifer, since you're on the meeting, we'll go ahead and pick your group here. If we were to click on your logo, that would then take us to the group for TTR networking. And so this is also a second improvement here now over Open in Indiana, rather than the previous organization landing page, where it was just churning and churning and churning every member on the site. We were able to make some improvements that resulted in the page being able to load a lot faster. An additional improvement now also allows local connector members to delegate administrator permissions to other people within their organization. So it's no longer absolutely tied to one person's account. You can give us prior permission to authorize another user where they're able to get in and run that group on your behalf. So similar to our previous setup with the organization landing page, we start with a description of the organization itself, and that can always be customized to exactly what you would like for it to say. And then below that, you have featured members. So just as we had previously with Open in Indiana, we have our forever free members, which is still going to be a membership option on INSPIREsmall.biz. And then we have our local favorite and local connector members, which those two membership levels classify someone as a featured member on the site. So for members who are in this organization, if they're set as featured, they'll appear here at the top. And as there are more than members than can be displayed at one time, rather than trying to load every single member in the list, it's a rotating carousel. So the page can load, you're able to see the information, and then it carousels on to the next group that fit in there. An additional thing that you're able to do here is that you can post activity updates, and we'll cover that a little more here once we get logged in. Because every feature that we're going to talk about today in the website requires that you be logged into your account as far as posting updates, events, and things of that nature. So below that, then we have our list of all members. And so rather than just loading as an alphabetical list, this actually prioritizes and sorts members by their last login date. So what that does is that every time someone visits that group page, they're going to see a slightly different arrangement of the members that are there. So it'll keep things interesting for anyone who visits the page. Also, at the same time, does a little better to spread out and make sure that everyone who's utilizing the website is getting the benefit of logging in on a regular basis. Below that, we have upcoming group events. So any events that are tied to that group, which is something we were previously not able to do with Open in Indiana, where you could just add a regular event. This now allows you to add an event specifically tied to a group. So Mike, for example, I know you're part of Southside Marketing Group, and they're also set up as a local connector member. What this allows each group to do is add any events tied to them. So your regular weekly meetings, any special events that you're putting on. So visitors days, outside of work hours, networking, charitable causes, anything that your organization is affiliating with or promoting, you have the ability to add it to the site and tie it to the group. Now, just because an event is tied to a group does not mean it won't appear in other places. It also will show in our all events output, and we'll look at that in just a moment. So that is what we've done from the home page to link to a group, and covered a little bit of the things that you can see in a group without being logged into the site. So now what we're going to do is log into our INSPIREsmall.biz account. And we could do that by clicking the login button in the top menu. And just like you did with Open in Indiana, you have to certify you're not a robot. So make sure you use the WD-40 before you jump on your computer, just to get things loosened up there, and then click login. And so you'll see the first time you're logging into your account, if you haven't yet previously, we now require that users add a profile image to their account. And you're not able to navigate to other parts of the website until this step is done. So there's two important reasons for doing that. The first thing is we're using the site to connect with each other. And part of that connection is knowing that we're connecting with the right person. So names are common, but without a picture, it just doesn't have that human feel. So the second reason here is that because we've merged member and business listings into one entity, it's important to have that tied to an image. So one of the most important lessons we learned building Open in Indiana is that having a separate member profile and a separate business listing meant that members were filling out one or the other. It was very seldom to have members that were able to completely fill out both. And so we arrived at the conclusion that it had to have been way too complicated, because we have a really great, highly engaged audience. So if they weren't filling out both of those, we had created something far too complicated. So by merging this together, it's really creating an overall experience that's going to be much simpler to use. So to be able to add your profile picture, you can upload an image. Also, if you have a webcam plugged into your device, you are also able to take a picture in real time. So if you do click take photo, make sure you allow camera when you're prompted by your web browser or your smartphone. In the case of what we're going to do here, we're just going to select an image on the PC. So let's get that selected. And so next what we have is the area to crop our image. So you'll see a lighter square inside of a much darker square. So what this is allowing us to do here is crop the image. And so we could drag this square around wherever we would like it to be, and then drag it out to be exactly the size we want. So if you have a headshot you want to use and you only want to use part of the picture, that is okay. It is important to note that the site will force a square crop. So if you move one side, it adjusts automatically with it. That's because different places on the site use the image slightly different. So by setting it up this way, it makes sure that you have complete and total control of how your image is going to look in all the variations that it may display on the website. So once you're happy with your crop, be sure to click the orange crop image button. And so that will have updated our profile image. So now what we can do is click just to the right here at change cover image, and that's going to allow us to put up our cover image. So let's select our file again. And there we are. And so we have those fields taken care of. So the next thing that we're going to cover now is we're going to actually edit the profile fields inside of our member profile. So we have change cover image here. We're going to go two to the left. So past change profile photo to edit. Once we click the edit button, that's going to bring us to our member profile. So you'll see there's two tabs here that you have. Contact information, which is the basics of how do members get in touch with you, and then special offers, which we'll cover in a moment. So there are still fields where you can make offers available on the site. It will then display where other members can view them. So of course, your name and location is required. Those are the only two profile fields we actually require. Otherwise, everything else that we're going to look at is entirely optional. Aside from your name field, everything on the site defaults to the visibility of your friends. So you have to have accepted a friend request from that member to display that information. Now, you have the ability to change that privacy level where you can select everyone, which is whether or not they're logged into the site. You have all members, which is anyone who's logged in, whether or not they're your friend. And then only me, which is of course only you, the owner of that information. So those fields can be customized. And when you select your desired privacy level, make sure to select the close button to save that privacy permission. The next thing here is under member bio, we have introduced some limited text options. So it's no longer just a plain text field. You can bold, italic, underline, quote, cross out, create bulleted and numbered lists. You can change the text position. You can also now put links into the member bio. So if you have something you want to specifically send people to that's not covered somewhere else in any of the profile fields, you are able to do that now. So next, what we have here after your member bio is any service organizations that you're a member of. So a number of our members on Open in Indiana were members of different service organizations. So we have Kiwanis, we have Rotary, we have various other nonprofits that do good things in their communities. So we wanted to start integrating those into the site a little better. So we have the defined options for Rotary, Kiwanis, and Lions Club. If you select other service organization, you'll see an additional text box appear below where you can plug that in. So any defined service organization that you're a part of, we encourage you to plug it into the site because it becomes an additional layer for people to be able to find and connect with you as a member. So next, of course, we have our professional title company. Something that's a new addition here is the industry. So we have some predefined industries that are set up. This is one of the elements of the business directory listing from Open in Indiana that we had integrated here to combine your profile. So select the industry area that best describes what you do as a business. And just like we did with Open in Indiana, if your business is part of an industry that we just aren't at all representing in this list, please send us an email. We're happy to find a way to integrate in an industry that would address what your business does, because there's always ways to improve the site and make it even better than it already is. So next here we have chamber or business association membership. So this is where you can select from the list. What we do when we add a new local connector member to the website directory, we create a checkbox for them as far as a member area. So any of you who are members of One Zone, Southside Marketing, TTR Networking, there are options here where you can select those fields and that would then display on the front end of your profile. So here, let me zoom in a little bit so we can see that here. There we go. Just in case you weren't able to see it previously. So So far, we have Kendallville Area Chamber, one zone. We have Open in Indiana set up in here because it's about making sure the name recognition sticks from one business to the other. Shop Noble, Southside Marketing Group, TTR Networking. And then just like we did with service organizations, we have a checkbox for other organization. And so we're aware right now that it's not popping up the additional field like it is with service organizations. So we're working to have a fix for that rolled out here pretty quick. So then next we'll move on to website, Facebook page, Google business profile. So all of those can be added as links. The front end of your profile will display it in a way that if a user clicks it, it takes them to that respective place. Now it's worth to note here that the profile fields that we're looking at are listed under the Forever Free membership. If you are a local favorite or local connector member, some additional things that get added in are LinkedIn, Instagram, online scheduling calendar, online store links. So just as we had previously done with your Open in Indiana business listing, being a local favorite member or local connector member does add some additional fields to your profile that you're able to fill out. As always, make sure if you've made changes into your profile that you click the Save Changes button. That will make sure that the changes you made are not lost forever. So now if we go ahead and look at the special offers tab, what we have is an option for you to provide any special offers for INSPIREsmall.biz members. So specifically other members within the online community here. And just like with your member bio, you can change the text formatting and integrate a link. So any kind of text content that you have to say about your offer, feel free to add it here. We also have a field for veterans discounts. So if you offer discounts to any member, current or past of the U.S. Armed Forces, be sure to add it here in your profile as well. Just like with the profile fields we looked at previously, save your changes when you're done. And after you have done that, you've successfully completed your member profile. So before we move on to our next section, I'd like to pause for a moment and give anyone an opportunity to ask questions that they might have so far. Okay. Well, I don't see anyone who just looks way confused. So, or I don't see anyone flipping the bird. So I think we're good to keep going. So, excuse me. The next thing that I want to point out here that's a big improvement over Open in Indiana is the activity page. So this is where you can go to see what's going on with other members in the community. So when you're logged in, you'll see some blue icons at the top of your screen. We're going to click on the home button. Now that will take us to the activity feed where you can post an update. You can also see what other members are up to. So I see Kia here and Mike have both made updates to their profile recently. You can also see, since we're logged in as Taco Cat, that he's made changes to his listing. So what we'll go ahead and talk about next is the ability to post an update. So there's always new and exciting things to talk about with each other's business. So anytime that you have an update, you could just click on the text box here and add your message. And so a couple of additional improvements here are that we've integrated the ability to put an image into your post. So if you have an image saved on your PC that you would like to add, or if you even want to link to an image on your own website, you can click that button here and it gives you the ability to pull that in. So, excuse me, what that is going to do is allow us to put an image, and we'll just go ahead and select one here, into our post. And so once we find the image that we're happy with and click Submit Images to Post, that will then post that update. So you'll see it below. You see the text we entered, hello everyone, and then there's the picture here. And so users can then click on that image and view it in a much larger size. So that's something that's a brand new update here. I'm sure each of you have a unique way that, or a unique case where you have a picture that would add additional relevance to your post. we encourage you to use it. Images are worth 1,000 words, and that's a lot easier than actually typing 1,000 words. So the other things that you can do here, if you have a video that you'd like to embed, you can use any web-based video. So YouTube, Vimeo, something hosted on your own site. Anywhere that's web accessible video, you can now integrate into your post. So that means anything that you'd like to share with it. So Jennifer, we'll pick on you again for a moment here. I see from time to time you have video introductions of things that are coming up with TTR networking. This would be a great example of somewhere that you can embed that and share it. Jeff, I know the Indianapolis Rotary Club has some occasional video that works out for things. That's another good use case. Other things that you can do here is embed just any regular web link. So you can, of course, add a link to your website or to your online scheduling portal or anything that's web-based that you would like to put in there. So the other thing that you can do here is rather than just by default posting things to your profile, which is the default option, you can also select in the drop-down list to post into a group that you're a member of. So you don't actually have to go directly to the specific group page that you're a member of to share an update. So if we select group, we can then look for our group name that we want to post in. And so we'll select that. And we'll go ahead and post our message. And so we're going to cancel since we don't have a web link to put in here. And then we'll click post update. And so what that's going to do is send your post directly to that group that you've selected. So now all members of that group will be able to see it, as well as here in the main activity feed. So an additional improvement here that's worth noting, you'll see that there's close buttons under your own content. So what you have the ability to do, since when you post an update, other members can comment on it or mark it as a favorite. Clicking the close button actually stops commenting on that post. So if you know you don't want to receive comments on something after so many days of posting it, you can simply click on the close button, and that means no one can place new comments on it. Now, if down the road you decide you want comments again, that button now says open, and so you can select that, and that will bring the comment option back to the screen. So that's an additional feature that did not exist previously. So as we scroll a little further down the page, you'll see all of our Monday network meetings that we have with a featured speaker for the last year we've been recording. So you'll occasionally see here in the activity feed the recordings of previous network meetings where we've had speakers. So if there's someone that you really wanted to see, but you weren't able to attend the meeting, it'll eventually show up here on the website where you can watch it. As we continue scrolling further down the page, Key, I saw your post the other day and made sure to comment back. Yes, that kind of content is always encouraged because it helps people connect and learn what we all do as professionals. So here we go. And if we get to the bottom of the activity that's loaded, you'll now see, similar to any other social media network, that the activity feed just continues auto loading. So it's no longer going to try and load everything that's ever been posted at one time, which is another improvement in performance. So as each of you log in and use this new website, you should notice right away that it functions way faster than Open in Indiana did. And so that is why we're building a brand new website here rather than just continuing to make modifications to Open in Indiana, because there's things you learn and there's improvements that you know that you could make had you gotten the chance to do it differently. And so that's exactly what we've decided to do here. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the other buttons that you'll see here at the top of your screen. So of course, if you hover over profile, you'll see there's two options. One, to view your profile, which takes you to the front end where you can see your profile as another member would see it. And so you'll see on the front end, we have our location, we have our bio, We have other service organizations, since that's what was selected here. Now, each of these items that are highlighted are searchable links. So let's say, for example, location. If you wanted to find other people located in Indianapolis, we'll click on that. And what that's going to do is give us an output list of the website of all other members that are located in Indianapolis, as designated by their profile. So let's go ahead and go back, and we'll see another example. So chamber or business association member, if we were to click on that, that's also going to take us to a list of members with that same option. So just keep that in mind, that you can click on all of those things to further connect with people. As for the telephone number, if you click on that, it's going to launch whatever calling app you have set up. So if you use your smartphone, you can initiate a call that way. If you're on your computer and you have a VoIP solution set up, you can make that call happen directly from the site. Also, another new piece to note here, we do allow members to opt for what type of communication they prefer. So members have the choice of saying they prefer telephone, text message, email, or INSPIREsmall.biz message. So that just tells someone looking at your profile what the most productive method of communication is going to be for them. That way, you're not trying to call somebody who really doesn't want phone calls and they're happy to text instead. It gives you an option to know how to reach out to someone out of the gate. Let's see. So, of course, the edit profile button will take you back to the screen that we had previously looked at, where you're able to edit all of the options in your member profile. So we're not going to go back into that page. That would be slightly redundant. Next up, we have the Learn button. So one of the biggest things we learned about Open in Indiana is that with all of the resources we were compiling and putting together, it wasn't helping anybody to put them in 1,000 different places on the site. So what we've done is we've brought them all together here under the Learn tab. So if you click on that, the first thing that you're going to see is a search box that asks you, what do you want to learn? And so you can enter anything that you want to learn about. And if we don't have it, it won't show you any options. However, the important thing to note here is that we have the ability to see what people are searching for. So if we find that our members are looking for something that we don't have yet, it helps us prioritize what to cover next. Since this is a living, breathing, growing, evolving project, we want to make sure that if someone's looking for it, we get it for them. You can also search by categories. So each of you being in our mail list already gets emails from us, our weekly events, blog posts when we have those to publish, recorded speakers when they're ready to go out. It is worth to note, the Open in Indiana podcast is no more. So we decided after doing that the amount of time that went in to try and produce an episode, it just wasn't a good fit for us as an organization. It also didn't seem to really be bringing the value to our guests that we had wanted it to. So if we know it's not the best use of our time, we also want to make sure that any guests are spending their time in something that's productive as well. And so we do have plans in the works to replace it with something, however, small steps at a time. We want to make sure we get the online community part of it right before we start looking for new ways to expand into different stuff. So our categories here, we have our Friday 5. So what that is a category for a really short, easy to manage 5-count list of various things of interest to small business owners. So a couple of examples of content we have coming up that'll publish about it. 5 WordPress plugin freebies every website needs. 1 that we already have here. Let's go ahead and click on that category. If it'll load here for us. We have 5 tips for networking success that already exists. So those are just things that are meant to kind of be a quick read to kind of give you that end of the week push to improve yourself and your business. We also have reference, which is designed to be content that is informative about different things. Speakers, which is specifically recordings of featured speakers we have at our different groups and workshops, tutorials, which is step-by-step instructions on how to execute things. So we've covered things such as LinkedIn and MailChimp in the past. Future topics that we're looking at here include PowerPoint, Excel, Word, MailPoet, which is a new plugin we just learned about that integrates your email list directly into your WordPress website. So things that give you a step-by-step understanding of how to use that program or app. Upcoming events. So rather than just composing individual emails of what events we have coming up each week, we are now switching to a blog post article that for 3 weeks out of the month, it shares our upcoming events. The fourth week of the month, we're doing the next month promotion of all events listed on the website. So not just the things that we have going on, but the listing of all events that all members have published into the site. The final category here is webinars. So anything that we do outside of our regular networking that's meant to be informative, we of course record those as well, and so they're available for you on the site. You can also look at popular topics. So as we have more content for each keyword, you'll see it get larger and larger on your screen, which gives you the idea that there's a lot more content about it than just 1 or 2 articles. So the next thing that we're going to look at here is the community tab. So the community tab has a lot of stuff going on for it. So the first thing that you'll see is notifications. So this is where if you receive an email from the website and it says Ryan sent you a friend request, this is where it's going to take you when you click to log into the site. That'll show you any notifications that you have pending. Messages, of course, is going to take you to where you're able to see any messages that a member sends you. My groups is any groups that you're already a member of. So if you need to get to a quick list of what groups you've joined, you can do that under that category. Discussion takes you to the main forum of the website. So this will show you an output of everything that we have going on so far. So we are still in the process of integrating Open in Indiana content in here. So look for this to get a lot more extensive as we go along. Let's see. Discover groups is worth noting here. So everyone that we have set up as a local connector member on INSPIREsmall.biz and any individual meeting that we currently host has its own group set up on the website. So if you scroll into this list, you'll see that there's join buttons here. And so that allows you as a member to join into a specific group. And then it would be determined by the privacy level of that group as to whether or not you're automatically approved, or in the case of groups where the administrators have it set to approve any request to join, it would then of course show you request membership versus join group. Now, privacy settings of groups can be customized, and so it is up to the administrators of that organization to determine exactly how they want that to work. And so, of course, we by default had set up just about everything as a join category because we want people to join into groups and get connected with each other. So if we were to click on that group, so you'll see, of course, who's administrators of each group. And now you'll see under the featured members, since we have a lot more members who have logged in and utilized the website, that there's a carousel rather than just loading a complete list at the same time. Latest updates. So this shows you all of the activity that has happened in the group. So for example, if you click on the activity feed here, you can see what's going on for that group. Let's see. Let's go back to the home tab. You can also see members of that group. And so once again, it's going to prioritize listing members as to when they've last logged into the website, just so that way it's not always the exact same person on the top all the time. Then, of course, we scroll down to upcoming group events. And so you'll see every event that's posted here that's tied to that organization. So let's go back here real quick. and we'll go back to discover groups. There we go. Okay, so now let's go into a group that we are already a member of. And so it gives us some additional options that we don't have just viewing the group as a non-member. So we'll give this a moment to load. There we go. And so you'll see now if we click on the activity tab, that it also, just like on the activity page, gives us an option to post an update to the group. And of course, spelling was never my strong piece. There we go. And so we'll click post update. And so now if we were looking at the home tab again, you would now see all of the updates that are tied to that specific group itself. Other things to note here under the members tab, this allows you to see a list of all of the members in that group. And so, for example, if you see someone that you want to add as a friend, you click on the add friend button. And this is also a new improvement. And this is dual purpose here. So the first thing is that you want to always make sure you're including a message to that person you're requesting friendship with, just to kind of help jog their memory on who you are or why you want to connect. The additional reason why we added that is it gives the site some additional time to make sure that it's not overloading itself with processing a bunch of friend requests at the same time. An additional benefit beyond that is it helps pace members on how quickly they're adding friends. Now, we of course want you to add every possible member you can as a friend and get connected with them, but we don't want to do all of them at the same time. That prioritizes a lot of power on the website to be able to do that. Also, it's a common similarity to spam activity that you see on other networks. Now, I know that our members are not trying to spam each other, but it's really, for a machine anyway, difficult to differentiate between who's legitimate and who's not based on rapid fire friend requests to people. And so if you do make it as far as when it freezes on you when sending a friend request, that's okay. Just give it 90 seconds and it will catch up with you, and then you'll be able to proceed with what you're doing. So at least for the first couple of times that you log into the website, as you try to get connected with as many other members as you can, just keep that in mind. If it starts to get slow, just give it 90 seconds to catch up with you, and then you'll be ready to go. Let's see, other things to point out here. Under the invite tab, for groups that you are a member of, you can go in and anyone that you are friends with on INSPIREsmall.biz, you have the ability to invite them into the group you're a member of. So, for example, if someone just joins your organization, you can then invite that person to try and join as well if you're already friends with them on INSPIREsmall.biz. So it helps you be able to bring people in that are part of your group as well, and kind of keep your community active and going on its own here as well. So other things to point out, the Find Friends button will take you to an output page that has all members on the site. Now, it's worth noting that it by default is only going to display members who have logged into INSPIREsmall.biz so far. So you'll see everyone who has been able to get on the website and upload their picture. Now at the top here, if you were to select instead of last active alphabetical, it will actually give you an output of members who have not logged in yet. So if you are looking at the last active and you just don't see someone that you know existed on Open in Indiana, you may need to type or select alphabetical and then find them that way. So that's just a default of how the site works. It just doesn't on its own display people who haven't logged in yet. You are still able to find them though. Some other things to look at here under the events tab, you'll see that we've split our events display a couple of different ways. So the first thing we have is INSPIREsmall.biz events. So Those are specifically the events that we have coming up. If you select on the all events button, that's going to give you an output of every single event that's logged into the site. So of course you see the event we're on now. We see some TTR networking events that are happening today. We see the Keystone Business Connections meeting that's coming up this afternoon at 2 o'clock. And so for each of these events, if you click on them, so you'll see the day and time of the meeting, what category it falls under. You can add a registration link to any web URL that you want. So you can use Eventbrite, you can use Facebook, you can use your own website. It does not matter where that points to, as long as the folks who will participate in your event are able to register. You can put any link there that you wish. Other things worth noting here, you can add all of the details about your event. You can also add an image. So let's talk about real quick how you can add an event to the website, because this is completely different versus Open in Indiana. So under the Events tab in your top menu, you're going to want to select Add Event. Once you select Add Event, that's going to load inside of your profile the page where you can post all of the details about the event. So we're going to say, let's go ahead and call this July 4th party. So this is where you can select what group you want to add your event into. So now it's important to note that if you attach an event to a group, you cannot detach it. So you can always go back and add an event to a group later, but once you have grouped an event to a group, you are not able to unlink it. So that's just important to point out here. So next, what you're going to do is select the date and time that you're going on here. So let's go ahead and select July 4 to July 4. And then you can select your time. And so let's go ahead and say 11 to 12:30. You can also specify your time zone. So since we are set up and active for the entire country now, you can choose whichever time zone you would like to use. So if you are ever hosting an event outside of Eastern time, you are able to set that accordingly here in the site. Next, we have location. So previously with Open in Indiana, all event listings required a location. We no longer require that, since after seeing how events have worked out over the last year, I have a weird feeling that there's a good number of events that are going to stay virtual. They just work better that way. So we no longer require you to add a location to your event. In the case that you do want to add a physical location, you can specify all of the information about it here in this list. So since I know many of you host events that happen online, it was kind of redundant to force you to add a location when it really didn't matter, since the internet can be anywhere. So in the case of a physical location, plug in the event name, their address, city, state, zip code, and then of course the country. You can also add a URL for that event venue. You do not have to. Part of the reason that we put that in here is it gives any event venue a little bit of an advertising opportunity on the website. You know, we want to make sure that if someone's hosting an event at their business, that visitors to the listing about your event can learn a little more about the venue as well. So we think that adds an additional layer of some promotion for the people who are allowing anyone to host an event there. So then under that, we have the details. So this is where you can plug in everything that you want to say about your event. And below that, we have the tickets link. So this is where, once again, you can plug in any link that you would like to use, where participants or attendees could purchase tickets, sign up, register, however you want to use that. Next, we have our categories. So Just like we did in our member profile a little while ago, we have some predefined categories that you can select for your events. So you'll see we have charity and causes. So Bill, for example, I know at the Kiwanis Club that you have things that you have an event that'll be coming up soon. This would be the kind of place where it could be a good idea for you to add it. Jennifer, I also know that you do TTR Cares, which is something that's a little more of a community focus rather than just your standard networking. So you have a pretty wide variety of categories that you can add. These events do not have to specifically be business related. So that is one of the similarities it shares with Open in Indiana, is that you can add any, as long as it's okay to talk about in a professional business environment anyway, it's okay to be added here. It doesn't specifically have to be a business event, but you just have to be able to comfortably talk about it in a room full of professionals without upsetting somebody. So then next here we have event image. So, and if you have an image for your event, you just click on that, choose it. And then at the bottom here, you do have to select this option to be able to submit an event. I highly recommend, if you haven't yet, please read our privacy policy. It's not that it's not because we hide anything in there you don't want to see, but as a good advocate for the informed consumer, I encourage you, please read the privacy policy. So once you confirm that you're okay with our privacy policy, click the submit event button. And what that will do is that will send your event over for approval. So events do still have to be manually approved before they're published on the website. That's just to help us make sure that we're only adding legitimate events for our members, and that even if there is something wrong with it, maybe you mistype the web URL, it's easier to email you and say, hey, Mike, I think your web link might not be right. It's just an opportunity to be proactive here with the site. So then once you have an event listed, you'll see on this page that you have the ability to add a location for an event or delete the event. Also, if you click on the event itself, it will take you to a page where you're able to edit details about it. So let's give that just a second to load here. And so you'll see we're able to come back to the event and make changes. Now, even if an event was previously published on the website, if you make changes to it, it is going to re-queue it up with us to approve it before it displays on the website again. So that's important to know. Now, during the work week, we do our best to approve things right away. It is important to know that evenings and weekends, while we do our best to approve things as we see them, it might not get done over the evening or weekend or holidays. So just the earlier you know about your event and can publish it here, the better. The longer it exists on the website, the more likely it is that we're going to catch it and get it approved and on the site well before your event actually occurs. So let's see, next up we have, under the settings menu, you'll see there's two buttons here, log out, which of course logs you out of your session and takes you back to the login page. The settings page is going to take us to an area inside of our profile where you can edit the details about your account. So you can update your password here or recover your password if you forgot it. You can also change the email address that's tied to your account and choose which emails you do and do not get from the site. So by default, everyone is opted into activity messages, friends, and groups emails. You can come into this screen and select which emails you do not want to receive. Profile visibility. This is a grouped page where you're able to change who sees what on your profile. So if you don't want to actually go in and look at the individual fields and change each one that way, you can come in here and choose from the drop-down list and just change them all at one time. Let's see, addresses, payment methods are both things that are tied to orders or purchases on the website. These two tabs are never displayed to other members on the website and are only used for your purchase and invoice purposes on INSPIREsmall.biz. Other things that you can look at here are group invites. So we'll give that a second. There we go. You can restrict and only allow people that you're friends with to send you group invites. Why would someone check that? Well, maybe there's someone you're not friends with on INSPIREsmall.biz who's overly persistent with inviting you to groups. So you can opt out of allowing people who aren't your friends to invite you into groups. The last two things under the settings menu to note here are the export data and delete account buttons. So to comply with California's data privacy law, we have to both notify users that we're using cookies on the website, which we do. It helps us improve our experience. We also have to allow the user to have access to their data at any time. So that's why that exists. And then, of course, the delete account button is maybe you want to close your accounts and you don't want it on here anymore. You can request deletion, and at that time, we'll have to approve it and eliminate your account. So those are just things to keep us in good graces of data privacy across the country, and to make sure that at the end of the day, it is your information, you own it, you have final control and say of how it's utilized. So that is why those options are there for you. Excuse me. Last couple of things I want to make sure we cover here. On your profile, there's two tabs that I'd like to draw your attention to. The first is orders. So orders is where anything that you purchase through INSPIREsmall.biz, you'll see an invoice for it on this screen. So even after the invoice is done, if you need to download it for tax reasons or just need to view it, this gives you the option to be able to look at it here. Download. So we are still working on our new member badges for INSPIREsmall.biz. We hope to have those rolled out here shortly. This is the screen that you'll be able to download those to use on your website. Now, with that said, the existing Open in Indiana member badges that exist, you can still continue to use those. There's no reason why you can't. We just want to make sure that we're providing the newer and current ones as well for everyone to use if they choose. Next here, we have the membership tab. And so this is where you can manage your user member level. So if you were to click on the plan, it'll take you to a screen that shows you all of the content that you're able to access and when you can access it. So it's important to note that Forever Free members can view content after it's been on the site for 90 days. Otherwise, local favorite and local connector members are able to access all content as soon as we publish it on the site. So that's important to point out here. So in the case of our newest post that was just published this morning, tips for looking great on camera, it shows us it's a post, and then it'll be available to a Forever Free member beginning August 12th. So otherwise, new content as it's published, if you are set up as a free member, it'll show you the first 55 words and then tell you that you have to upgrade if you want to read it immediately. Let's see. So if we go to the subscriptions tab, this will show us again when our membership started, when it expires, what the status is, and the next date that it's going to bill. So that way you can go in at any time and you can see exactly when it's going to bill you again for your membership. Let's see, a couple last minute things I'd like to make sure we cover here under the Friends tab in your profile. This will show you members on INSPIREsmall.biz that you are currently friends with. And then the Groups tab will take you to the groups that you are a member of. So in a nutshell, I think I've pointed out just about everything that we have on the site. So what I am happy to do now is open it up for discussion and questions.
Hi, Ryan.
Terry, you muted yourself.
There we go. I apologize for being late. I was at a mechanic shop with my car. But are you going to record? Are you recording this that we can look at it later?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Okay, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Very excited for you. Okay.
Thank you. I know we're looking forward to being able to reach out to you in North Carolina because I really enjoy when you're able to get onto our events with us.
Ryan, it's Mike. Just a quick question. You may have gone over it and I may have missed it, but how do you invite people to be friends?
Sure. So if you're looking at the top menu here, you're going to hover over community and you'll click on find friends. So that's going to take us to the page where it defaults to the most recently active members. And so you'll see I'm looking at your profile right now. And so I'm going to click on the add friend button. And that brings up a send request box where I can customize my message.
Yeah, I remember this part now. It didn't click in my head.
There you are. And so you should now actually have a notification bell that popped up here on the community button, and you can then go to notifications and approve or deny that request.
Well, this is going to be a hard choice whether to approve you or not. I don't know.
Well, darn it.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, I think I must have left everyone speechless then. That could be good or bad. So, well then, since there aren't any more questions about what we've talked about here, what I'd like to do then is kind of change gears a little bit and talk about some of the upcoming events that we have happening here. So just as a quick reminder, this afternoon at 2:00 p.m., we have our Keystone Business Connections meeting, which is hosted by Jamie Hopper, who's on with us today. And the featured speaker for that meeting is Christy Fries, who's the owner of Care by Christy. And Jamie, do you have a small synopsis of what she's going to cover today?
I haven't heard her exact topic, but Christy is getting ready to roll out a roadmap for elder care that she's created, and it's absolutely phenomenal. She, in her career, she spent about 10 years working in different senior communities. And what she realized a lot of times is when people tend to care for their own loved ones, they didn't care for themselves. And she has created this company to help caregivers, to kind of give them permission to care for themselves. So she's going to talk a lot about those things, and it's going to be really awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. So if you are available today at 2:00 p.m., please join us for that meeting. It is important to note that all of our networking events that we host, both our Monday networking on Zoom, Keystone Business Connections, and our fourth Friday meetup at Books and Brew are not industry exclusive, and we welcome professionals from all industries, regardless of who's already there. So we are a welcoming community that wants everybody to be able to come in and gain something of value. And I'll give you some great examples of that. Even in the same industry, your company may not be a specialty for something that someone else you know is. And there's always that opportunity to be able to collaborate and work together. And so I just want to make sure to point that out, that as an organization, I'd like to admit that a few years back, we did not do such a great job of enforcing the welcome community to everybody. And so having been able to recognize that, it's important to note that entrepreneurs come from every walk of life. They're in every industry. They're in every type of business. And no matter who they are a welcome person to participate in any of our groups, provided that they also respect everyone else that's in that group. So that's important to note of why we're here. So moving on to our next point to note here, July 5th, this coming Monday, we do not have our Monday networking on Zoom. That is the July 4th holiday observed. So hopefully you're enjoying a nice day off or able to do something you enjoy that day. And then coming up on July 12th, we have David Carver, who's the owner of Enigma Intelligent Solutions. and he's going to share time-tested leadership principles. The following week there, July 19th, we have Claire Miller, who's Director of Events at Urban Air. She's going to talk to us about some of the really cool stuff that you can do at her Noblesville, Indiana location. And then on July 26th, we have Jeff Crane, who's with the Entrepreneur Source, and he's going to talk about considering self-employment. So, of course, these presentations are all going to be recorded, so they'll turn up on the site at a later date where you can go back and review them. But we also always invite you to join on for the networking and connections there. So unless we have any other questions, it looks like we wrapped up 15 minutes early. So, all right. Well, I'm happy.
Just a quickie, Ryan. When's the next Books and Brews event?
That is on July 23rd.
Why couldn't I find it here on the events page, or am I not looking at the right place?
You know, it might not actually be on there yet.
Well, that's a relief.
No, you know what? We had our visibility and said, you know what? No, don't show Mike that event.
Okay,
No,
that's good to know.
no. So thanks for pointing that out, Mike, because I would have never caught that.
Thank you. I'm always looking for a chance for a brew.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm happy to stick around in case anyone has any other questions, but we did wrap up before the scheduled 11:30 end time. So everybody, thank you very much for joining today. And I look forward to hearing from each of you what you think of the improvements, and look forward to seeing each of you using the site and attending events.
Thank you.
A lot, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye,
Enjoy your
guys.
week.
Bye.
Bye, Jeff.
Y'all be safe.